Fluency is not about perfection, it is about confidence. Too many people believe they are bad at English, when the truth is they were never taught how to practice it the right way. Language is not something you memorize, it is something you live, breathe, and use every single day. English fluency does not come from long study hours once a week. It comes from small, intentional routines practiced daily. Consistency beats talent, repetition beats fear, and courage beats silence. Every fluent speaker you admire once struggled with pronunciation, grammar, and self-doubt. The difference is simple. They kept speaking even when it felt uncomfortable. They made English part of their daily life, not just a subject in a book. You do not need expensive courses. You do not need perfect grammar. You need a routine that trains your brain to think, listen, speak, and respond in English naturally. When you commit to daily practice, your confidence grows, your fear fades, and fluency becomes inevitable. Remember this, your voice deserves to be heard. Your ideas matter, and English is not a barrier. It is a bridge to opportunity, connection, and self-belief. If you show up for this routine every day, even for a short time, you will be amazed by how quickly your English transforms. Not because you tried harder, but because you practiced smarter. Many people believe that English fluency is a gift. You either have it or you don't. This belief is one of the biggest reasons people stop trying. The truth is simple and powerful. Fluency is not talent-based, it is habit-based. Anyone who practices English the right way every day can become fluent. Language is a skill, just like walking, driving, or swimming. You did not learn your first language by studying grammar rules. You learned it by listening, repeating, and using it daily. English works the same way. What matters is not how smart you are, but how consistently you practice. Daily habits train your brain to recognize patterns. When you hear English every day, your brain starts predicting words. When you speak daily, your mouth becomes comfortable forming sounds. When you read daily, your vocabulary grows naturally. This is how fluency develops. Quietly and steadily. Many learners study for hours one day and then stop for a week. This breaks momentum. Short daily practice is far more effective than long, irregular sessions. Even 20 minutes a day can transform your English if done with focus and intention. Daily habits also remove fear. The more you use English, the less scary it becomes. Mistakes stop feeling embarrassing and start feeling normal. You realize that errors are not failures. They are signs of progress. Confidence grows not from perfection, but from familiarity. Fluent speakers are not perfect speakers. They are consistent speakers. They show up every day, speak even when unsure, and keep moving forward. Over time, English stops feeling foreign and starts feeling natural. If you want fluent English, stop waiting to feel ready. Build small daily habits. Practice every day. Trust the process. Fluency is not something you are born with. It is something you build. One of the biggest obstacles to English fluency is the habit of translating in your head. When you translate, your mind moves slowly, your confidence drops, and your speech becomes hesitant. Fluency begins the moment you train your brain to think directly in English. At first, thinking in English feels uncomfortable. Your mind searches for words, sentences feel incomplete, and silence feels awkward. But this discomfort is not a problem. It is progress. It means your brain is building a new pathway. Just like exercising a muscle, thinking in English becomes easier with daily use. Start small. Think in English about simple things. What you are doing, what you see, what you plan to do next. Describe your actions silently or out loud. I am making tea. I need to reply to an email. The weather is warm today. These small thoughts train your brain to associate meaning with English words, not translations. When you stop translating, your response time improves. Words come faster. Sentences flow more naturally. You begin to sound confident, even if your grammar is not perfect. Communication becomes your priority, not correctness. And that is the mindset of fluent speakers. Thinking in English also helps with listening. When you hear English, you understand it directly instead of converting it into your native language. This makes conversations smoother and reduces confusion. English starts to feel familiar, not foreign. Fluency is not about speaking fast. It is about thinking clearly. When English becomes your thinking language, speaking becomes natural. Your confidence increases, your fear decreases, and your voice becomes stronger. Stop translating your thoughts. Start living in English. The more you think in English, the faster fluency becomes part of who you are. Many learners spend hours reading, writing, or memorizing vocabulary, believing that silent study will make them fluent. While studying is important, the single most powerful habit for fluency is speaking every day. Your voice is your bridge to confidence, and confidence is the foundation of fluencies. Speaking daily trains your mouth, tongue, and brain to work together. English sounds, intonation, and sentence patterns feel strange at first. But the more you use them, the more natural they become. Silent practice only prepares your brain to recognize words. Speaking activates your full language system, making fluency real. Confidence comes from action, not theory. Each time you speak, even imperfectly, you prove to yourself that you can communicate. Each small conversation builds courage. Over time, mistakes stop feeling embarrassing. They become stepping stones. This is how fluent speakers grow. They speak, stumble, correct themselves, and speak again. You don't need a perfect environment. Speak to yourself in the mirror. Narrate your day. Record your voice and play it back. Practice with friends, language partners, or online communities. Even 10-15 minutes daily can dramatically improve your fluency if done consistently. Speaking also strengthens listening and thinking. When you form sentences aloud, your brain learns structure and flow. You begin thinking in English naturally because your speaking muscles and mental processes are trained together. Your brain and mouth learn the rhythm of the language simultaneously. Remember, fluency is not reading well in your head. Fluency is using English boldly in the real world. Every time you speak, you reinforce new neural pathways. Confidence grows, fear diminishes, and the gap between knowing English and speaking English shrinks. Start today. Speak, stumble, correct, and speak again. Daily speech is your fastest path to fluency. If fluency is more than words and grammar, it's also how your English sounds. Pronunciation, rhythm, and tone are just as important as vocabulary. And the secret to speaking naturally is listening consistently and repeating what you hear. When you listen to English every day, through songs, podcasts, movies, or conversations, your brain begins to recognize patterns. You start hearing how native speakers stress certain words, link sentences together, and use natural intonation. This immersion trains your ear and your mind to think in English, not your native language. Repetition is the bridge between hearing and speaking. Mimic phrases, sentences, and expressions aloud. Copy the rhythm, pitch, and pronunciation exactly as you hear it. This is called shadowing, and it's one of the fastest ways to sound fluent. Over time, your mouth automatically learns to produce the sounds correctly, and your speech starts to flow naturally. Many learners focus only on reading and grammar, but without listening and repetition, English often sounds awkward or mechanical. Fluency isn't just about saying the right words, it's about sounding like you belong in the language. Regular listening and repeating builds that comfort and authenticity. Another benefit of repetition is confidence. When you know how words sound, you are less likely to pause or hesitate while speaking. You feel certain and clear, and your communication becomes effortless. Mistakes still happen, but they are smaller, easier to correct, and less intimidating. Start small. Pick one short sentence or phrase each day. Listen carefully. Repeat it aloud until it feels natural. Then add another. Over weeks and months, your pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm improve dramatically, making your English sound fluent and natural. Listening and repetition transform your English from chords on a page into a living, spoken language. Make it a daily habit and watch your confidence and fluency soar. The most important key to mastering English is consistency. Talent, resources, or intelligence alone cannot make you fluent. What truly matters is showing up every day, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when progress seems slow, and even when mistakes make you hesitant. Small, consistent actions compound into remarkable fluency over time. Consistency trains your brain to recognize patterns, recall vocabulary quickly, and form sentences naturally. When you practice English every day, speaking, listening, thinking, or reading, you reinforce neural pathways that make language use automatic. The more automatic it becomes, the less fear you feel while speaking, and the more confident you become. Fear is one of the biggest barriers to fluency. Many learners hesitate to speak because they worry about mistakes, accents, or grammar, but consistent practice reduces that fear. Each day you speak, repeat, or think in English, you prove to yourself that mistakes are not failures. They are part of the learning process. Gradually, fear fades, replaced by confidence and self-assurance. Consistency is also about creating a routine that is realistic and sustainable. Even 15-30 minutes of focused practice daily is far more effective than sporadic hours of study. Your brain thrives on repetition, not intensity. Daily practice builds habit, habit builds skill, and skill builds fluency. Consistency creates momentum. The first week may feel slow, the first month may feel challenging, but if you persist, the breakthrough comes and fluency starts to feel natural. Small, consistent steps allow your confidence, pronunciation, and vocabulary to grow simultaneously. Remember this, fluency is a journey, not a destination. Each day you commit to practice, you are reinforcing your future self. Daily effort transforms fear into fluency, hesitation into confidence, and learning into natural communication. If you want fluent English, make consistency non-negotiable. Speak daily, listen in English daily, and over time you will be amazed at how fluent, confident, and natural your English becomes. Fluency is not a distant dream. It is the result of small, consistent actions taken daily. You don't need perfection, expensive courses, or talent. You need courage, commitment, and the willingness to show up every single day. Your brain learns patterns through practice, your mouth learns sounds through repetition, and your confidence grows through speaking, even when it feels uncomfortable. You have learned that fluency comes from daily habits, not talent. Thinking in English trains your mind to respond naturally. Speaking every day builds confidence faster than silent study. Listening and repetition develop natural pronunciation. And above all, consistency transforms fear into fluency. Each of these habits daily compounds into real, lasting results. Remember, mistakes are not failures. They are proof that you are learning. Silence and hesitation slow progress. Courage and action accelerate it. The moment you start applying this daily routine, your English begins to grow, your confidence rises, and fluency becomes inevitable. Stop waiting for the perfect moment, stop fearing mistakes, and stop doubting your ability. Start today, commit daily, and trust the process. Every word you speak, every phrase you repeat, and every thought you think in English brings you closer to the fluent, confident communicator you are meant to be. Your voice deserves to be heard. Your ideas matter. Your English can be fluent, and it starts with the simple, powerful decision to practice consistently, tomorrow and every day after.